Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Happy Wednesday. All right, my screen is looking a little funny, so I want to make sure everyone can see me and hear me before I get started. If you can see me, if you can hear me, somebody say hello to your girl. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Miss Phyllis. Good morning, Miss Cassan. Great morning, great morning, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. I'm waiting for somebody to let me know that everything is good because my screen is being really weird. Good morning, Miss Patricia. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. All right. So I hope you all can see me. I hope you all can hear me. Okay. Miss Phyllis is saying hello. So that means y'all can see me and hear me. Okay. Great. Good morning, y'all. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, y'all. It is a Walk by Faith Wednesday. It is a We Live in the Word Wednesday. Okay. It's a winning Wednesday. Today is the day that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing and we are glad in it. It's your girl, Terry White, and we are here for our weekly Bible study, Morning Miracles and Manna. And y'all, today is going to be a really special day because it is the culmination of our quarter long study on miracles in the desert. So if you're brand new to this broadcast, brand new to me, we are every week we gather. Every Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. we gather to dive into the Word of God to study different miracles that have happened in the Bible, and we pull out those biblical, spiritual, and practical principles to then apply them to our own lives so that we can then rediscover the power of miracles in our own lives, right? Because how many of you know that miracles still happen? Somebody say miracles still happen. Miracles still happen. So since January, we have been in this study of miracles in the desert, and we have studied different miracles that happened in the desert place. So in January, we studied the miracle at Beersheba with Hagar and Ishmael. And then last month in February, we studied the miracle at Rephidim with Moses and the children of Israel. And this month we have been in the desert with Jesus and his disciples studying the miracle in the desert. And so we're not only going to finish that series, but we're finishing our entire quarter long series on miracles in the desert. So I'm super excited. And y'all know Wednesdays is a busy day here in the virtual prayer room because, well, this month anyway, because we have Bible study at 6, we have prayer at 6:30 a.m. And you all, this morning we have a special guest in the virtual prayer room for 31 days of prayer. So I invite you to journey over with me at 6:30 a.m. It's a different broadcast, so it won't be here. This one will end and there will be a new broadcast. So just make sure you stay close, stay connected. But at 6:30 a.m. this morning, my great friend Adelia Edwards is coming through the virtual prayer room. She's pulling up to pray with us, y'all, and she is a powerhouse. So make sure you don't miss it. It is going to be absolutely amazing. So we're going to get through this. And there's really only one thing I want to point out to you all here as we kind of round out this study on miracles in the desert and the miracle in this desert place, because of course we want to make sure that we end in time so that we can journey over to 31 days of prayer. So for this month our Bible studies have been a little shortened, only because we have to do prayer immediately after. So I need you all to journey with me to Mark 6, and if somebody can put this in the comments for me so I can tag it, because I didn't create a little banner for it. But it's going to be Mark 6, and today we're doing verses 39 through 44. Okay, so Mark 6 verses 39 through 44. If somebody could put it in the comments. That's right, y'all, miracles still happen. Yes, they do. Miracles still happen. Okay, y'all, so we're in Mark chapter 6, starting at verse 39. Verse 39. And you all, this is the story of, it's a very familiar passage. It is the story of Jesus. and his disciples feeding the 5,000. So all month long, we have gone through and we've kind of broken down this story step by step in each phase of the story. So to get the recap, you got to go back and watch the replay. Okay, they're all still on my page. They're also on YouTube. So if you want to journey over there, because they're only on my page for a limited time, Facebook's going to remove them soon. But you can watch them on YouTube. They're also on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed there. Terrye Y. Hicks on YouTube. I'm Terrye Y. Hicks everywhere, y'all. So thank you, Miss Patricia. All right. So that when somebody comes in, they can see exactly where we are. All right, y'all. So starting at verse 39, and I'm reading from the New International Version. It says, "Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of men who had eaten was 5,000. So real quick this morning, real quick, y'all. I want to share this thought with you because we've been talking about miracles in the desert. What happens when you're in an isolated place? What happens when you're out in the wilderness? We learned as we studied about deserts, as we studied about an oasis, as we studied about the conditions they were in, that deserts are hot. They are dry. There's typically either little or no resources in a desert place. Okay. The water is scarce. Food is scarce. Other people may be scarce. You may be in a space where you're isolated, you're by yourself, or there are not a lot of people around. Every now and then you occasionally come up to an oasis like the children of Israel did at the miracle at Rephidim, right? When you come up to an oasis where there is water flowing, and it's almost supernatural because the water flows from under the ground, and it creates a natural place of resources. And depending on how large the oasis is, it may just be a spring of water, or there could be vegetation and fruit and just life because water is flowing there. But that's not typical for the desert. That's why it's an oasis. It's a refreshing place within a desert space. But a desert in general is isolated, it's dry, it's hot. And in their case, they were in a deserted place. And as I said during the first week we began to study this, Jesus had sent the disciples out to pray for folks, to heal folks, to teach folks. He sent them out to minister. So they were out doing ministry. And it wasn't like today where, you're driving around and you got the AC on and you got your bottle of whatever kind of water you like. Because if you're like me, you only drink certain kinds of water, okay? You're just not drinking random water. And so you got your favorite bottles of water. You're nice and cool. You're dressed the way you want to be dressed for these different ministry assignments. This was not that. They were out in the hot desert. There was no AC. They had no car. They were on foot or possibly on donkeys, horses. So the conditions were astronomically different, but they were out and ministering, and they had been doing this for some time. So when they came back, Jesus said, you know what? You need to rest. We need a moment of rest. So he decided to get them all in a boat to take them across the lake so that they could get to this deserted place, a desert place, okay? Get to this place where he had hoped would be a space where they could rest, they could be refilled themselves, they could have a moment of being poured into. Jesus was hoping that this could be a place of refreshing and rejuvenation for them. Well, what happened? When the disciples came back, people recognized Jesus, recognized his disciples, and saw them getting in the boat and figured out where they were going and decided to meet them there. So these people went on foot to get to the other side of the lake where Jesus and his disciples went by boat. So much so that by the time Jesus and his disciples got there, the place was already filled with thousands of people. Not a few people, not dozens, not even hundreds, but thousands of people. Can you imagine? You have just spent all your time, energy, resources, mind capacity, mental capacity, even spiritual capacity, pouring out, preaching, healing, laying on hands, teaching people about God, teaching people about Jesus, and you're looking forward to this moment of rest. And you get to where you were going so that you can rest, and thousands of people are waiting for you to do the same thing you were trying to get rest from. These people were in need of healing. They were in need of miracles. They were in need of a word from God. Oh, that's good, Miss Patricia. There's still ministry in a desert place. There's still ministry. And so Jesus' disciples, they began to minister to the people. Of course, Jesus didn't turn anyone away. He didn't tell them to come back tomorrow. He didn't say, can y'all give us a week? They began to minister to the people. Well, as it got later in the day, Jesus' disciples had compassion on the people and said, you know what, Lord, they've been here all day. It's getting late. Let's go ahead and send them home now, because we don't want them to have to walk through the dark in this wilderness deserted place. So let's send them home now so they can have time to stop at the nearby villages and get food. And Jesus said, no, you feed them. And so the disciples said, now wait a minute, you see all these people? It would take us a half year's wages just to feed all these people. You want us to spend that kind of money on these folks? We don't even know these folks. And Jesus asked, and this is where we picked up last week, Jesus said, how many loaves do you have? So that's the first thing, because Jesus already knew a miracle was about to occur. So he did not ask, well, what do you have? Can you go see what somebody has? Can you go see if somebody has anything? Can y'all go look around and see if there's maybe some food? He said, no, how many loaves do you have? I know there's something out here. I know there's a miracle out here waiting to happen. Go find it. Go find the miracle. Go look for it. Jesus told them, how many loaves do you have? Go and see. So in essence, he was telling them, look, a miracle is about to occur. I just need y'all to be patient. I need y'all to rock with it. I need you to go and find it. And so the disciples go and find. How many, y'all? We know this. If you went to Sunday school, you know, he found 2 fish and 5 loaves, okay? 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. Now, there were thousands of people. 2 fish and 5 loaves may barely feed one person. I mean, the 5 loaves, could feed a few people, but the 2 fish, that, listen, especially if you like to eat, the 2 fish, that's good for one person. So in all these thousands of people, they came back with 2 fish and 5 loaves. So here's the miracle, y'all. Here's the point that very quickly, and I mean very quickly, I want to make to y'all. Here in verse 41. So, okay, they get all the people, they organize them into groups, into smaller groups, so that they could better organize the handing out of this miracle. Amen. But then in verse 41, it says, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. I got to say that again. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Here's the point that I want to make to you today. And here's what I want to leave you as we close out our study on miracles in the desert. Sometimes, y'all, miracles are messy. It says he gave thanks and then he broke. He gave thanks and then he broke the 2 fish and 5 loaves. After he thanked God for the miracle, he had to break it up so that everybody could get what they needed. And listen, he's Jesus. So he really could have done anything. There were times where they needed payment to pay for this and that. And Jesus, they're opening the mouths of fish and getting money out. So listen, Jesus is Jehovah Jireh. He's God, right? So he's Jehovah Jireh. So why did he even need the 2 fish and the 5 loaves? Furthermore, why did he need to break it? Because I believe Jesus wanted to teach us something, that your miracle isn't going to always be pretty. Sometimes there is a breaking that happens in your miracle. See, we look for the pretty things. We want the nice outcomes. We want the beautiful experience. Oh, God did this for me and it was a beautiful miracle. No, sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's not going to come out the way you thought. Sometimes it's not going to go the way you expected. It doesn't make it any less a miracle. He blessed it and then he broke it. He had already received them. He had already received what he needed. He had already received the provision and he thanked God for it, and then he broke it. God had to break the miracle into pieces so that nobody would be left out, so that everybody could get what they needed. And you don't always understand, oh my God, you don't always understand the breaking because you expected it to be pretty. You don't always understand the breaking because you expected it to be smooth. You don't always understand the breaking because, God, I didn't pray for this. I prayed for marriage, but now this marriage is shaky. It doesn't make it anything less than a miracle. God, I prayed for children, and now this pregnancy is rocky. It doesn't make it any less a miracle. Sometimes the breaking comes after the blessing. Somebody better hear what I'm saying, because we always expect that we're broken and then we're blessed, right? We expect, hey, God, I came to you broken. Now I need you to bless me. But sometimes there's a breaking after the blessing. When you think your miracle is supposed to come one way, God says, no, I need to break it because there's something you don't understand. There are other people who need to benefit from this too. I know you thought it was going to go like this, but I got to break you a little bit more because there's other parts of this thing that you don't understand. There are other people who need what you have and you don't understand that yet. So I got to break you a little more. I know you expected this miracle to be smooth, but you don't understand that there is something else that has to be done. There are other people who are in need of what you have, and they need this broken you. Because we think that the miracle is supposed to clean us up. The miracle is supposed to make it all better. The miracle is supposed to be a smooth process. But sometimes, y'all, the miracle is messy. Sometimes, y'all, the miracle is going to break you. And sometimes it may not even feel like a miracle because of the breaking. My God, and I don't even have time. I don't have time, but I want to leave this with you. Because sometimes the miracle is messy. Sometimes the breaking is necessary. And it may not feel like a miracle. And I want to say this to you because we have been declaring miracles, signs, and wonders all month long, all year long, since last year. We've been declaring miracle, signs, and wonders. But I want you to understand that sometimes your miracle may not look like what you expected. Sometimes your miracle may not be a beautiful blessing. It is a beautiful blessing, but you can't see it because it looks like it's broken to you. God, this ain't what I prayed for. It may not have been what you prayed for, but it's exactly what you needed. God, I prayed for this relationship to work out, but it ended. It was still a miracle because you don't realize that what you thought was heartbreak because a relationship ended was really God's protection from something you couldn't see down the line. And so God had to break you in order to give you the miracle. God had to break you, and the breaking was the miracle. See, the miracle didn't happen when they went and got the 2 fish and the 5 loaves. It was still just 2 fish and 5 loaves. It was still just 2 fish and 5 loaves. That can't feed hardly anybody. When did the miracle happen? Or the miracle happened when he broke it. The multiplication began to happen when he broke it. There were leftovers, and there were 12 baskets full left after everybody ate. That happened when he broke it. The miracle, the beauty of what God did happened in the breaking. So I just want to put that in your mind this morning, that even if your miracle doesn't go exactly the way you thought, even if the miracle doesn't go the way you were praying, and it seems like maybe God didn't answer your prayer, or he answered it in a whole different way, you got to understand that there is a blessing in the breaking. He blessed it, then he broke it. The breaking doesn't always happen before the blessing, and then the blessing and the miracle comes, and it makes the breaking better, and it cleans up the breaking sometimes. But sometimes the breaking happens after the blessing. Sometimes the breaking happens in the miracle. And when you're expecting it to look one way, God said, no, I got to break you a little bit more, because there are other people who have to benefit from this too. And I know you can't see it right now, but the miracle is happening in your breaking. The miracle is happening in your breaking. You're waiting for a healing. It happens in the breaking. You're waiting for God to move in a certain area. That's going to happen in the breaking. You're praying for God to do something. It's going to happen in the breaking. It doesn't always happen after. Sometimes it happens in the breaking. That makes it messy, but it doesn't make it less a miracle. So I pray this morning. I got to run, y'all. I got to run. My guest is waiting on me. Whew, Jesus. But I pray this morning that you are blessed to understand that your miracle might be messy, but it doesn't mean God has not blessed you. Your miracle may not look the way you thought, but there is a blessing in the breaking. Your miracle happens in the breaking. The provision happens in the breaking. And if you will just trust God, because after the breaking came what, y'all? Abundance. Woo! After the breaking, he blessed it. Then he broke it. And then it multiplied. So if you could just get through the breaking just a little while longer, on the other side of that breaking, there is abundance. On the other side of that breaking, there is exceeding abundantly above all that you can ask, think, or imagine. On the other side of your breaking, there is supernatural provision. On the other side of your breaking is the real blessing. So I pray that you are blessed this morning. I pray that you will join me in just a little while. I'm not going to pray here because we're going to pray there in just a little bit. So I pray that you will join me over in the other broadcast in just a few minutes for 31 days of prayer with my special guest, y'all, Adelia Edwards. It's going to be amazing. Listen, I wish I had time to really sit with this with y'all, because it's a good one, y'all, but y'all know we got to run. So I need y'all to join me. Join me in just a little while at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with my special guest, Adelia Edwards, for 31 days of prayer. All right, y'all go. Have an amazing day. I will see y'all in just a minute, but I need y'all to remember that your miracle might be messy. And there might be a breaking in your miracle. But after the messy, after the breaking, comes the beauty. Amen. Y'all go. Have a great day. I'll see y'all soon. 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 31 days of prayer. Y'all be blessed.